Good morning. DZRJ 8:10 a.m. The Voice of the Philippines proudly brings you Mind Your Own Business with Nicole Jacinto and attorney Nikki De Vega, helping you understand the nature of business from the big picture to the fine print. And now, here are your hosts, Nicole Jacinto and Nikki De Vega.
Good morning, Philippines. I'm Nicole Jacinto, and you are?
I am attorney Carlo Nicolas. Hi, Nicole.
Hello, Carlo. And together, Carlo's here in place of Nikki, but he's...
Hi, Nikki.
Hi, Nikki. How are you doing today? I love you.
I think you'll be joining us
You say
soon.
I love you also to
I love you,
Nikki.
Nikki.
Okay. And we are here to help you figure out how to mind your own business. Okay. Well, it's July 4, Carlo.
And it's
American Independence Day.
Yes.
Yes, and it's also... I think it's also American-Filipino Friendship Day.
And in the past, I think Independence Day was formerly July 4. Before it was moved to June 12. I recall that part of our history.
Yes, when we were under the Americans, but not officially under, something like that. Anyway, I don't want to argue about history today. But if anyone...
We can argue about the weather.
That's right. The weather is kind of... well, yesterday was, I actually knew a few people who panicked. And they were ready to evacuate because the water levels were really rising early in the morning. It had rained so much. The rain was just continuous, and I think there were some. Did you get shades of Ondoy?
Yes, I've heard reports of flooding everywhere.
Yeah.
In fact, I think around 90% of our staff in the office got late.
Exactly, and it wasn't only that, but classes were dismissed all at the same time, like in the middle of the day. So there was so much traffic. There were so many traffic jams because, of course, you have the students, the traffic, the rush hour in the morning, going to work, going to school, and then the parents have to pick them up again, or the school buses have to pick them up. So
it really beguiles me to. It's a wonder why the system has not. There's no system implemented yet as to informing schools when to dismiss or when to suspend classes.
Well, I think. A long time ago when the DepEd was called DEX,
yes,
they were the ones in charge, right? And then they had the final say. And then at some point, it kind of improved. But I think it should really be up also to the individual schools. And actually, it should really be up to the parents. If you think it's raining too hard, and you don't want your kid to get stuck in a flood, and you don't want to get stuck in a flood or in a major traffic jam, and it's quite useless because you can tell they're already gonna call off classes in the middle of the day.
This is something really basic and simple. My take on this is maybe because of the absence of legislation.
Yes.
You see, we do not have anything that says the LGU should do this or that DEC should do this.
Apparently, there's an executive order, but that President Aquino released that has to do. I forgot the number. 60. I think it's 63, something like that. I don't pay much attention to President Aquino's executive orders. That's why I don't know the number. Also, I'm getting old. But anyway, there's some executive order which was released in the last, I guess, in some time in the last 2 years. But it's also it's difficult to tell. Like it's not
clear cut. Yes,
it's not
precise.
Clear cut. It's not precise, as usual. And then the DepEd is always late. In the last 2 years, they never seem to really make up their mind about anything except for K+12, and the teachers have to smile.
And it's sometimes yes, that's also something we discussed in the past,
right? Right. And also then they leave it up to the LGUs or the local government units, the mayors. But then at the same time, they're like, okay, well, the mayors are concerned about the safety of their whole area, the whole vicinity, and of course, the school children belong to that, the ones who are there. But it gets really how do you say this, confusing, and when it's happening, you don't know what to do. You don't want to start a panic.
No, I'm even thinking maybe you see it's the process of devolution. Before it was given to DEX, right?
Yes.
But because of so many levels of government and bureaucrats and agencies, it takes quite some time before the decision goes down to everyone. So they devolved it to the LGUs now.
Yes.
I was thinking, what if you devolve it to the barangay captains?
Yeah, that's right. And then tell them it's up to you whether, and also maybe the school administrators themselves or the school owners, and perhaps The parents also, maybe there's some kind of PTA organizations.
Yes.
Yeah.
That could be utilized for this purpose.
Yeah.
Anyway, after all, the schools have absolute control over when and where the children studying the schools will go.
But you see,
study.
apparently some schools, okay, I've spoken to some school owners, they get punished if they just decide on their own. Like, it's they can't do that unless there's a good reason. You know what I mean? Like, there's some kind of, again, bureaucratic process that they have to contend with.
There's a problem now. While the floods are rising, the schools have to seek permission from a higher authority.
So the schools then call the mayor. The mayor's office isn't quite sure, and then
calls NDCC or whatever it's called right now.
And then so you can imagine, like, there are probably like hundreds of schools calling. There are 20. Let's say there's only 10 schools and
2 phone numbers, right?
10 schools calling and making kulit and asking, okay, in what level? Is it just grade school, high school? You know, what do we base it on? And then the mayor's office going, wait a minute, we have some people drowning. We can't answer your question.
You know, I think that's one of the reasons why Twitter was invented. But you just tweet.
You tweet, oh, okay, I'm not going to school today. But anyway, speaking of Twitter, you can follow us on twitter.com/DZRJ810am. And if you listen today via Facebook, if you look us up on facebook.com/DZRJ810am, you will see Carlos' beautiful barong.
Yes, with the Philippine flag.
Yeah, with the Philippine flag.
You know, the Philippine flag will never go out of style, right?
And that goes back to July 4 and you know, it being American Independence Day, but also Filipino-American Friendship Day. And it's nice to think of. It's always good to remind yourself, even when it's another country's Independence Day, it's good to remind yourself of your own history
and
your
sometimes
history with another country.
Freedom is a resource that we neglect.
That's right.
Because we have it. But when we don't, that's the only time that we think about its importance.
My philosophical question for you today, which you do not have to answer. Are we really free here in the Philippines? Have we been free in the last 2 years? Is this really a democratic country? Or are we being ushered into the dark ages, and are we under a dictatorship? You don't have to answer that or call in during this program because we're going to talk about partnerships. But you can call in, you can text in and give your opinion, or call in some, or you know, actually you can call in and give your opinion to Jervy or Tala or whoever's sitting there, you know, just to add spice to it.
And the numbers are
897-8374, 895-4460, and 895-4244. You can also send us a message by typing RJAM, that's all caps. Leave a space, type in your message, and send it to 2256. And maybe, you know, your messages can also be read or taken up during other programs. If not today, then, for example, tomorrow on Double Trouble.
You know, you mentioned 2 things that are in common with the topic. First, the American Independence Day, and our topic, partnership.
That's right, partnership. Because
our concept of partnership came from a number of sources. Among them is from the United States, their American Code of Partnership. So in our case, we rely on the experience of other nations, and we bank on that experience and bring them to the Philippine shores, which is what essentially happened with most of our laws right now. Now, speaking of partnerships, you've heard about that Tom Cruise. So that's a partnership.
Okay.
It's a conjugal partnership that just split up.
That's right.
Are you sad?
No.
Are you affected?
No.
I know a number of people who are.
They are?
Yes.
But, you know, I was thinking...